Right, today I'm going to talk to you about how to get really strong and big without putting on loads of excess body fat, without looking like you eat 8 Snickers bars a day, okay? So, this can be made, you can really overcomplicate this, but it's actually not as difficult as you might think. So, what we need to do first is find your maintenance calories. So that's the first thing we need to do, is find your maintenance calories, the calories you need just to stay the same body weight you're currently at right now. Takes all these things into account. So your basal metabolic rate, this is not your maintenance calories, this is the calories you need to just stay alive without moving, without doing anything. This is the calories you need just to stay alive. And then your physical activity, just so general training, stuff like that. Digestion, so the thermic effect of food, so basically how much body your heat produces by digesting that food, you need to take that into account as well, right? Non-exercise activity, so what I'm doing now, for example, moving my hands, again, that burns more calories. The usual way is like this: you have this calculation, or you can go online and look at a TDE calculator, so total daily energy expenditure. Just look online, type in TDE calculator, and you could take that as a reference. But my preferred way is obviously my way, right? So what I would get my clients doing myself is track 7 days of your total calories, okay? Every day, but make sure you don't obviously just eat how you usually would, and then add that all together, divide by 7. Now this will give you an average, and you could put that next to the TDE calculation that you've got. And obviously if it's way off the TDE calculation that you've used, then you've probably gone wrong somewhere. If not, try that calories for a week and see if your body maintains at that calories. Pretty confident that's your maintenance, then use them calories. But what I would strongly suggest first is use those calories for a week and see if your body weight stays the same. If it stays the same, you've got them bang on, okay? This is just an easier way, a more foolproof way of making sure that calculation is accurate, okay? The most important thing about doing this is making sure that you're not completely changing your diet, because now you're logging and now you're visually seeing what you're eating. You're suddenly now eating chicken salads every day and grapes and fruit, and your diet's all of a sudden perfect. It needs to be exactly the same as you would usually eat to get an accurate representation of your maintenance calories. I'll say that again, yeah? It needs to be how you would usually eat. It's really important that you do that. So then we look at body fat percentage and where we go from there. So if your body fat is 15% or higher, recomp or drop weight. Recomp basically means increase the ratio of muscle to fat. So you want obviously more muscle than fat. You do that by staying at a maintenance calories, but pushing the intensity of your training, progressing the lifts, etc. Yeah, or increasing the training volume. There's loads of ways we can do that. Sometimes you can add in cardio, but obviously then we're looking at potentially burning more calories, and then that will put us into more of a deficit. But if you're 15% or higher than recomp, you might be able to just sit and cruise at 15%, to be honest with you. But let's say if you're sitting at 17 to 20% body fat, I'd recommend that you drop weight. Yeah, you get to a healthy, lean body mass so that your body is performing at its best. Yeah, so everything is performing at its best, your hormones, all these other things that come into play. Also, I do need to preface this by saying I'm not a doctor and I'm not a dietitian. This is just what's worked for me and my clients, okay? Don't be looking at medical advice for some geezer on YouTube. But if you're 12 to 15% body fat, a 300 calorie surplus on training days, but only training days, okay? It's really important so you don't gain loads of excess body fat. So just put 300 calorie surplus from your maintenance on training days. You should gain a significant amount of muscle over the next coming months. And then if you're 10% or lower, so 10% body fat or lower, slight surplus, 200 calories every day, you're in a really good position if you're 10% or lower, because one, your body's really healthy, and also your blood sugar is really responsive, so you're going to pack on muscle easily. So 200 calorie surplus every day if you're 10% or lower. Easy as that. And then you'll nicely cruise into a slightly higher body fat percentage, but you'll still be able to perform at your best in that 12 to 15% range without your physique actually looking much different at all. Then where do we go from there? So what we need to do now is review this every 8 weeks and see where we're at. If we've packed on muscle and we're still gaining at a nice rate, then we just keep it exactly the same. If we're gaining too much body fat, then obviously we need to look at reducing the calories or sitting at a maintenance for a while to make sure we don't gain too much fat and it negatively impacts our performance. Then if we're not gaining at all, obviously you've probably gone wrong somewhere in the maintenance calories. So what I would look at is adding 100 calories for a week, and if you don't increase, add another 100 calories and do that until your body weight starts slowly creeping up. Look at maybe a 0.2 to sort of 0.4 gain, roughly around there. That could be over a 2-week or a 4-week period. It depends how slowly or quickly you want to increase. But again, we're looking at making sure we're not getting shitload of body fat, also staying in good shape, but gaining muscle at the same time. The last thing I want to go into, and this is what loads of coaches said to me is never an issue, is digestion. So, you know, often we're told by a lot of coaches online, eat as many vegetables as you want, it really doesn't matter, eat as much fruits as you want, it doesn't matter. Bullshit. What's going to happen there is you're going to start to get a lot of digestion issues. So what we want to look at is low FODMAP and high FODMAP foods. So by all means, you can have high FODMAP foods, just try and have them in moderation and try to have the majority of your foods to be the lower FODMAP foods to improve your digestion. So meal to meal, it's easier to get those foods in. So basically low FODMAP means how easily those foods are digested, okay? If you want to look further into that, feel free to have a look. What I recommend to a lot of people is stay in tune with your body and see what your body responds to. For example, for me, I more recently found out in the last 2 years is I don't digest bananas very well at all. And I never thought that would have been the case, but it is. So I don't have bananas in my diet at all, because they make me more bloated and make it harder to get the next meal in, okay? We want to look at optimizing our nutrition for the highest level of performance. So I hope this video has helped. If you have any questions, some people might find the body fat section confusing because they're not sure where their body fat is at. If you're struggling with that, drop me a message on Instagram, ross.coaching_, and I'll see if I can help you out. Aside from that, look online and you can type in the body fat percentage you think you are and get a rough guideline of where you're at. But again, if you're struggling with that, drop me a message on Instagram, ross.coaching_, and I'll see if I can help you. Thanks for watching.